Hey everyone, welcome to part 12 of this Dark Urge Tactician mode guide for Baldur's Gate 3. We're going to be spending a lot of time in the Grym Forge in this episode. We're going to be getting new, better equipment, working on Karlach's build, making her very powerful, and we're going to take down Grym, the Guardian of the Ancient Forge, and I'll show you a great way to beat him that is totally foolproof. It'll work wonderfully even on Honor mode, so I'm really glad that you're joining me for this part. Let's continue on by going down toward this north end of the hallway. We're going to run past all the Rothae, and we're going to go up the stairs at the end, and when we get over here we're going to pause and we're going to switch our party just a little bit. It is a good idea to save it because there is a little bit of a fight here, and then once you're ready, let's separate the Dark Urge from the other party members, and then we're going to use a potion of animal speaking so we can actually talk to those Rothae and get them to do what we want to. Now let's run forward and get into a bit of a cutscene. The Dweger here. The Dweger want us to beat the animals into doing what they want, and that is to break through the barricade over here. Instead, we're going to just talk to the Rothae, and we're going to convince them to just breathe, focus. If you strike, your masters will destroy the herd. That comes with a skill check of 10. It's pretty easy to get this one to work, so let's roll that, and now they're going to agree to do the work. They're going to break through, and while they do that, we're going to put on the Club of Hill Giant Strength. And that's going to allow us to boost our strength all the way up to 19, and once the Rothae have broken through that barricade, then we're going to be attacked by the Dweger. Now, we're set up in a really good position here where we can run forward, and we're going to just shove this enemy off the edge and all the way down into the chasm below, and that will instantly kill them. So if you're working on trophies and achievements and you haven't gotten the shove-off trophy yet, that's a great way to do it right there. And now with that enemy eliminated, we unfortunately do not turn invisible because we didn't actually kill them with a weapon attack. So instead what we're going to do is to run over here, and then we're going to use the Shrouded in Shadow ability so that we will turn invisible. And that way the enemy will not know where we are. They're going to be focused mostly on the Rothae and the other party members who are too far away for them to attack. So by keeping them over to the side here, we're able to do ranged attacks to do damage to the enemies, and that will keep us safe while we eliminate them. Always make sure that you're breaking line of sight if possible, hiding out back here, and that will just make sure that we aren't taking any damage, because we don't want to take any damage if we're going through a difficult mode like Tactician mode or Honor mode. So now it's going to be Gale's turn. I'm just going to have him use his Ray of Frost cantrip. That will allow him to do some good damage and also really limit how much the enemy can move around. So he's not able to run close to me, and I also broke the concentration on that hunter's mark. So that's all that I'm going to do with him, and then I'll have Lae'zel take a couple shots at this enemy up close, and we ideally will want to eliminate him quickly. Unfortunately, I did get a miss with that second attack, but that's okay though. He's not going to be able to get close to me. When the Rothae attack, they will try to knock down the enemies. They actually can knock enemies over the ledge too, so that's kind of an interesting way for them to fight. And unfortunately, this one does get eliminated, but there's still another one who's on my side. If you don't nicely talk the Rothae into doing the work, they will not be your allies in this fight. You'll have to fight them as well. So by going through that sequence earlier, we're able to have them help us instead of being more enemies for us to eliminate. Let's run over here. I do want to keep my distance from the enemies as much as possible, and while still being invisible, I'll use the sneak attack range to eliminate the enemy closest to my other party members, and that will reapply my invisibility, and that will also make it so that the enemy is not close enough to do any damage to me. Let's peek out around the corner with Astarion, and then we can do another attack against him from a distance. Unfortunately, even though he's close to our ally, we still can't hit him with a sneak attack range, so we'll just hit him with a normal range attack, and then go back into hiding over here. We can run Gale out around the corner as well, and I'm going to have him use Ray of Frost again. That's going to do some decent damage to him. He's also not going to be able to move a whole lot, and we also saved on the spell slot by using a cantrip instead of using a spell. Finally, Lae'zel will come in, she's going to take a shot, and that will finish the fight. There's no reason to fight the Rothe, you don't have to kill anyone that is still alive, just because you don't get any experience or anything for it. So it's a waste of time to kill the Rothe, you can just skip all of that. We're going to continue on through the opening that the Rothe made for us, and then we're going to go east and up this long set of stairs. You should get an autosave on the way up, and then when you get to the top, turn toward the right, and then you're going to keep going and go up the stairs on the other end as we go toward the south. When you get up to the next platform, turn right, and you're going to be out onto a walkway, but be careful because there's lots of traps around here. We're going to first disarm the gargoyle statue nearby. It is a skill check of 10, so we can do that fairly easily. And then as we go slowly down the walkway, there's going to be a couple more marble plates that we want to disarm as well. These also have skill checks of 10, so let's get both of those on the way over toward that thing that looks like a little golden sun or a star on the ground. So we're going to get both of those marble plates disarmed, and then right by that star on the ground, we're going to look over to the side, and there's going to be a trapped beacon that we also want to disarm. And those are the only things that you have to disarm. Other than that, we don't have to worry about any more traps in this area. Let's go a little further south, and then we're going to go down the iron ladder until we're at the bottom. And then we're going to go across the little walkway here and hop up onto this little suspended bridge with the chains. Let's go all the way to the other side so all of our party members can join us, and then we're going to just jump down onto the next platform. If you really wanted to, you could mess with the levers and cause that walkway to go all the way to the side. There's a few enemies over there, but there's nothing that important that we need, so I'm going to skip that and then just continue on south all the way toward the end of this walkway. We're on the catwalk, getting all the way to the end of it, where we're going to then once again have another suspended platform with the chains that now we need to use the levers to adjust so that we can continue on toward the ancient forge. Let's start by using a ranged attack to attack the levers over here. We want to start by attacking the one closest to us. So let's hit that, and that will raise up that platform to get close to us. If we didn't do that, we would jump down and take damage. So we're able to avoid taking any damage by moving it up closer to us. Once all of our party members have joined us on the platform, we're going to shoot another arrow. This time we're going to hit the lever on the far side from us. So let's shoot that one, and then we're going to be transported all the way to the other side of this area, as far to the south as we can go. Once you get to the end, then we're once again going to take aim at those levers. We're going to attack the one closest to us again, and that is going to lower the platform to a spot where we won't take damage if we jump off of it. And there's going to be a very small area that you can hop up onto. Once you do that, then you're in the clear. Let's go a little bit further toward the south, and then when you get to the end, we'll just jump down onto the platform below. And that's going to discover a waypoint that we can use for fast traveling. It comes in very handy. The Dark Urge is still equipped with the Club of Hill Giant Strength, and we don't need that anymore, so instead we're going to re-equip our previous weapon, the Short Sword of First Blood, so that we can do more damage to enemies who still have full health. Then what we want to do is to save the game, just because we have another fight up ahead and we want it to go well for us. Let's split the Dark Urge off from the other party members, and then using Gale, we're going to have him cast invisibility on the Dark Urge. That will allow us for 10 turns or 60 real life seconds run around without the fear of being seen by the enemies up ahead. So we're going in once again solo as the Dark Urge. We're going to run forward, and there's going to be a few enemies in this area. We can climb up the rope netting, and I'm going to start by targeting the enemy on the left side here, this animated armor. We'll use a sneak attack melee against him, and that will do a lot of damage to him. They're also all going to be surprised so that we get automatic critical hits against them. We'll use another sneak attack melee, and that enemy is gone. Now let's just run away from where the enemy believes that we are, and we're just going to pass the turn and allow them to be surprised, and then on their next turn, then they're going to try to look around and see where I am. they won't be able to find me, and that will end the combat. And we're just going to keep doing that until all of the enemies are eliminated. We'll kill one of them, we'll wait it out until the battle ends, and then it will just keep going. So I don't have to explain the whole thing to you, I'm just going to let it play out for you, and I'll see you in a minute.
Death won't take me yet.
And there you go, all enemies have been eliminated. They didn't even know that I was there for the whole time, so that was really a good fight. We didn't lose any health or anything like that, and we got some good experience for doing it. Now we're going to head around this area, first toward the southeast, and then looping around toward the right. That will take us down toward this river of lava. Don't go in the lava, instead we're going to get close to it and then jump over the lava so that we can get to the other side. Now over here, there's going to be a Mithral vein. Let's attack it using our ranged attacks, and that will break it down in just a couple attacks, and then we'll be able to grab the Mithral ore that comes up on the ground nearby. So pick up the Mithral ore, and then we're going to go back the way we came and rejoin our party members. Now that we're back at the top, let's go straight ahead and you'll find the Scale Mail Mould Medium on the ground. Let's pick that up so that we can craft some very powerful medium armor for Karlach. Now we're going to go back by our other party members and we're going to regroup together. And then what we want to do is to go back to camp because we're going to grab Karlach and we're going to put her on the team and we're going to take Gale off of the team for this next section. I'm going to skip over the conversation with Karlach because it doesn't matter. She's now joined our team and she's eligible to level up. But we're not going to do that just yet because instead we're going to control Karlach and we're going to run her down the nearby stairs because Withers is waiting for us. And by paying Withers a little bit of gold, we're able to respec our character, and that will allow us to choose different feats and ability points, all that stuff. So what we want to do is to first ask him what services a skeleton can offer, and then we're going to say, you mentioned a cost, what is it? And then we're going to say, can you help me change my class? And we will pay him 100 gold for this. When you do that, then you're going to get basically into something similar to a character creation screen where you're going to decide what Karlach is to start off. So you can choose any class normally. We're going to keep the Barbarian and we're going to move on from here by selecting some other attributes like her ability points. We want to definitely keep the strength maxed out, and then you can take away some points in other areas like on wisdom, and then you can boost up dexterity and constitution, just kind of have an even spread over that. So that looks pretty good. Let's lock that in, and then as far as skill proficiencies goes, I don't need to change anything or Karlach's name. So we're all set up now with a level 1 Barbarian as Karlach. Let's keep going and we're going to go through the level ups and I'll show you what you need to choose in order to create a very powerful class called a Barbarian ThrowZerker. And starting off, we just want to stay in the Barbarian lane for a little while. We're going to keep her on the Barbarian track all the way through level 5. So let's just keep going through this one as quickly as we can. Next up we have a level 3 Barbarian. We get a specialization, and for this one we're going to go with the Berserker subclass. That gives us access to Frenzy ability as well as Enraged Throw. This is very powerful for this ThrowZerker because we're going to be throwing lots of objects at enemies, and that Enraged Throw is incredibly powerful and a very good tool to have at our disposal. As a level 4 Barbarian, we now get access to a feat, and we're going to choose the feat called Tavern Brawler. This is very good for this build because when we throw something, our strength modifier is added twice to the damage and attack rolls. So when we look at the stats of this, we get to put 1 more point into strength. That will give us a +4 to our strength checks, and that will be added twice to it. So that's a really nice way to add damage in. Finally, as a level 5 Barbarian, we get access to extra attacks so that we can make an additional free attack after making an unarmed or weapon attack. But what it doesn't say is that also includes when we throw an object. So we're actually able to throw a weapon at an enemy, do a lot of damage, and then throw another one on top of that. You can also pair it with the Enraged Throw that we got a few levels ago, and that will allow us to throw 3 times in a single turn. Now, instead of going as a level 6 Barbarian, we're going to switch things up and we're going to multi-class over toward Rogue, and we're going to stay with Rogue for 3 levels. So starting off with a Rogue level 1, we get to adjust our skill proficiencies. I'm going to take away Sleight of Hand because I don't need it, and I'll give it to Acrobatics instead. So let's lock that in, and then we're going to go to the next screen where we have Skill Expertise. I'm going to give that one to Athletics just so that we can stay nice and physically strong. That covers all the level ups that we have to do for right now, but we also want to enhance our abilities through equipment, and there are some very specific things that we'll want to go around and collect. It won't take very long. In fact, we've already gotten some of them, but I'll show you very quickly how to get the other ones that we need. So starting off, we're going to do some fast traveling, and we want to go over to the Emerald Grove Environs Waypoint. We haven't been there for quite some time, but it is good to go back here so that we can grab the first thing that we need, which is going to be a new ring. To get it, we need to go back into the grove, and that will take us along the path all the way toward the north, and we're going to talk to Aaron, who is the trader over here. You can either choose to buy this if you want to, or just steal it from him. It's a very easy steal at this point, especially with a character like Astarion, who has really good sleight of hand. So we're going to run down into the hollow, and then Aaron the trader is going to be right over here. Let's just switch on over to Astarion, and then what we want to do is to sneak around here. We'll pickpocket Aaron, and we'll go down, and we're going to grab the Ring of Flinging. So once we grab that, it's a very easy steal. And once we've successfully stolen that, then we're also going to quickly grab the Arrow of Acid that he has. That one is pretty much a free steal as well. Let's quickly get out of here just so that he doesn't turn around and accuse us of pickpocketing him. And then we're going to fast travel again. This time we're going to go to the Underdark Myconid Colony. There are 3 different things that we need down here. So starting off, we're going to run a little bit toward the east. Blurg should be right around the corner from the waypoint. We're going to steal from him, and he has another item that we need. It's going to be some boots, and they're called the Boots of Genial Striding, so that when the wearer runs around, they don't get impeded by difficult terrain. Now let's run along the path toward the west. When we get way down the path, then we're going to meet up with that husband and wife who are the mushroom pickers over here. Let's start by talking to the wife. This is Dareth Bonecloak. She's not going to be too happy with her husband, and what we need to do instead is to ignore her personal problems and just say, "Show me your wares," because she has the Caustic Band, which makes our weapon attacks also deal 2 acid damage. So let's go ahead and barter for that Caustic Ring. With the relationship that I had, it only costs 108 gold, so I'm just going to offer that up, and then that will be enough. But you could also choose to give up some items that you want to, like some scrolls. Those are all pretty good. Well, we're done with the things that we have to collect now. The last piece is something that we already collected, and it was actually a reward from the same person we just talked to when we rescued her husband from the Bibberbangs. So starting off with Karlach, we're going to go into the helmets, and we're going to equip the haste helm so that at the start of combat we have momentum for 3 turns. We can keep the armor that we have on her right now, the hide armor +1. It's good because it gives us a +1 bonus to the initiative rolls. Now let's go over toward the boots. We're going to grab the boots of genial striding. That's what we just pickpocketed off of Blurg so that we can run around unimpeded on difficult terrain. Then for the gloves, we're going to equip the thing that we just got from the quest reward for the mushrooms, the gloves of uninhibited Kushigo, so that the wearer deals an additional 1d4 damage with thrown attacks and attacks made with improvised weapons. Definitely a good thing to have on this build. Now we're going to equip some rings. We got the caustic band just a moment ago, so our weapon attacks also deal 2 acid damage. And we're going to equip the ring of flinging that we got from Aaron in the Grove. The wearer gains a 1d4 bonus to throw damage. So everything that we're doing is all about boosting the damage that we have when we throw things. Now, because we'll be throwing things a lot more than using a melee weapon, let's switch out the axe that we have for the Club of Hill Giant Strength, just to boost our current strength from 18 to 19. More strength definitely means more damage, as well as the ability to carry more things in our inventory, which is important because we're going to be carrying a lot of stuff that we can throw at the enemy. So we're done with this build now. Now we just have to go and try it out. So let's do some fast traveling. We're going to go back to the Underdark Ancient Forge. This is right where we fought the last group of enemies. And we're going to now move forward in this area and collect some stuff around here that we can use as weapons. So run around here and you'll find a lot of things that you can pick up and throw at enemies. There's going to be items like this torch on the ground. Let's go ahead and grab that. It also does bludgeoning damage, which is important because the boss that we have to fight coming up, Grym, is very susceptible to bludgeoning damage. So by collecting all the torches in this area, we're able to really stock up on things that will do a lot of damage when we throw them down and hit him. You can also run around and grab some other items like the mace mold here. This is very heavy, and heavy items do a lot of damage as well. Let's continue on down the path here, and we're going to get down toward the bottom part. We're running straight toward the southeast down the ramp. You do have to jump over a little bit of a gap here, and then you'll be in the lower section where you'll be able to get some good experience just by running around. Now there is some more Mithral ore in the back. You can see the glowing blue rock. We'll get to that in a little bit. First though, we want to take out Grym, the guardian of the ancient forge. So to do that, we're going to run down but not quite go all the way down onto the platform. What you want to do is then split your party members into 2 different groups. So give everyone their own space, and then we're going to put the Dark Urge together with Lae'zel, and they're going to be Team 1, and we're going to leave them right here. And then Team 2 is going to be Astarion and Karlach, and using them, we're going to hop down onto the platform, and then we're going to go over toward the right side, and we're going to hop up onto this little ledge here. So they're going to go onto the platform, and then just off the platform and hang out right here. Now we're going to grab the Dark Urge again. He's got all of the things in his inventory that are needed. So we're going to hop down onto the ledge and then walk forward. He's pretty encumbered by holding some heavy things. And we're going to interact with the Mould chamber, which will allow us to put in the mold for that medium armor that we grabbed earlier, the Scale Mail Mould Medium. We'll combine that with the Mould chamber and successfully insert it, and then walk over to the Crucible. We're going to open that up, and then we're going to put in the Mithral ore that we collected a little while ago. So let's insert that into the Crucible, and then we're going to be all set. So everything is kind of primed at this point. We don't want to flip the lever though. Instead, we're going to go back toward that little walkway that we jumped down from earlier, and then we're going to be up on this little ledge. So no one should be on the main platform of the forge. I did just go into my inventory and unencumber myself by transferring some things over to other party members, so now I can have a little bit more freedom of movement. Okay, at this point, we're just about ready to start the fight, so I definitely would recommend saving the game. And then we're going to go over to Astarion, and he is going to use a ranged attack to attack the lever over here toward the southeast from where he is. When you hit that, it'll drop down the giant anvil, and that will cause the whole platform to lower down all the way to the bottom part. Now, normally your party members would be on this, and they would be right at ground zero inside the forge where the boss fight happens, but we don't want that. We're going to be tacticians on tactician mode, and we're going to use Lae'zel to shoot an arrow down and hit the lava valve, which will then flood the whole area with lava and release Grym, the boss, to come out and try to find us. Now, Grym has a significant disadvantage in this fight because he only has melee attacks. He cannot attack us at range at all. So by staying up top here, we're able to attack him and do all the damage we need to very efficiently to eliminate him without fear of ever being hit by one of his attacks. He does have one thing that he can do in the middle of the fight that can cause a little damage to us, but it is certainly nothing to worry about at all. So now that he's in the lava, he gets a debuff called Superheated, and that is the only time that we're able to damage him. Let's use Lae'zel and try to draw him over toward us. We want to keep hitting him so that he will walk toward us, and then that will engage us in battle. What we want to do is to use one of Lae'zel's range attacks to hit that lava valve so that it can always have lava on the ground. It'll persist for a couple turns, but that's okay because that superheated status also exists for 2 turns. So even if you run out of lava, it's not a big deal. You have a free turn where you can still do damage to him while you get ready to cause the lava to come back out here. So now he's superheated, we're able to do some damage to him. The first turn that he really has, he'll use Awaken and then just try to run toward whoever was the last person to attack him. And that's his threat assessment ability at work. Whoever is the last person to attack him successfully and do damage to him, the threat will be put onto that person. They will be the prime target, and he will always try to walk toward that person. So now, as our party members, we just have to try to get him into position so that he'll be standing in the lava during every turn. And that's good because that will keep that superheated debuff on him, allowing us to do lots of damage every turn. So once again, if the lava goes away, then just have Lae'zel use a ranged attack to turn it back on, and you'll be able to keep attacking him from up above. Now, what I want to do is to make it a little bit easier to hit him, and the way that you do that is to use an acid arrow, because acid will lower his armor class, allowing us to do more damage and to hit him more frequently. With this starting, I'm going to go into my inventory and select the arrows of acid. That is going to allow me to shoot that arrow of acid down to him, coating him in acid and making it much easier for us to do damage to him. Now let's switch control over to Karlach so that she can show you exactly how powerful she's become. We're going to start off by using our bonus action to activate Frenzy. That gives us access to Enrage Throw next turn. But for now, let's just use the basic throw command. We're going to choose one of the torches that we picked up, and we're going to hurl it down to him. So he starts off with 428 health. We'll throw it down there while he's superheated, and that will do lots of damage. He's now down to 386 health, so that was 42 damage with just one thrown object from Karlach. But we also get an extra attack, so let's throw another torch down at him. This time I'm going to do 50 damage to him in total. So with just Karlach using 2 throws, I took away 92 of his health. And that's pretty good. It means only a couple more turns from now we'll be able to finish up this fight without taking any damage. Lae'zel has some interesting bow attacks that she can use. She can either push enemies away or to use hamstring shot to reduce their movement speed. It doesn't really matter for this fight because we aren't really trying to move him at all. We just want him to stay right in this lava. But just for fun, I'll hit him with that hamstring shot and do some damage to him. Now let's have the Dark Urge take over. We're able to shoot a couple times thanks to dual wielding our ranged attacks. So let's hit him with 2 different attacks, one from our main hand and then immediately follow that up with our offhand. Unfortunately, one of those missed, but it doesn't really matter. Karlach more than makes up for the little bit of lost damage that we have from other party members. So let's switch it now over to Karlach. We're going to now use her Enraged Throw, and we're going to toss this torch down and hit him. There's an 80% chance of hitting, and it does. Anytime that you hit an enemy with an Enraged Throw, they are automatically knocked prone if available. Not everything can be knocked prone, but there is no skill check at all when you do this, so you're guaranteed to knock over everything that is able to be knocked over. And now we're just hitting him with 2 of our throw abilities, and we're just choosing items that we don't really need, this crude mace or other torches. We're just throwing away all the things that we don't really need. And what you'll see is it will say melting when it hits the ground. Unfortunately, that means that the weapon that we threw down there landed in the lava and it melted away. So we're not able to reclaim it after the fight, but that's okay. We've got more than enough things to throw at him, way more than what we need. So just keep hitting him with ranged attacks. He's not going to attack us at all, and we're just going to keep chipping away at his health with our other party members, but really Karlach is the star of the show here. Okay, we'll just finish up our turn here, and then you'll see what happens when Grym gets to less than half of his health. He actually does acquire a new ability, and he's going to use that against us, and that ability is called Seismic Wrath. All it really does is it calls forth a couple of little fiery gargoyle things to join him. They're actually hostile toward each other. Those gargoyles will attack both Grym and our party. So it's good now just to take a pause from attacking Grym, and instead we're going to focus on taking out the magma methods that he spawned in. So we'll just attack a couple times with Lae'zel and just spread out the damage a little bit so that we can use follow-up attacks with our other party members in order to actually get the kill. So we're done with Lae'zel for now. Let's switch it on over to Astarion, and you'll see that he is able to hit just one of the enemies around here. He doesn't have dual wielding or anything like that, and sometimes they are out of reach where we can't see them. So just whoever you are able to hit, let's just take a shot on them, and that will finish them off, also causing them to explode upon death and do some damage, and also put a fiery ground down wherever they were. So we don't want to be down there during all of this. We like it nice and high up top here. We've got a pretty good vantage point on this side that we can see all of the enemies, so we can start to pick them off one by one. Using the ability to dual wield range attacks is really handy so that we can start to eliminate them all on this side. So let's do some more damage to them, and then what we want to do is to switch on over to Karlach, and we're going to want to finish them off as quick as possible using our throw. Let's start off by using Enraged Throw. This will allow us to use 3 different thrown attacks. Doesn't really matter what you choose here. If you run out of items to throw, then you can just go into your inventory. If you've been following along and you went to the Githyanki Crash with me, we collected a lot of weapons from the enemies in that area. A lot of short swords and great swords and crossbows, all that stuff. So let's just grab a whole ton of these things, and then we're going to transfer them from Lae'zel, who's currently holding them, over to Karlach, and that will put them right into her inventory. Don't worry, she's strong enough to hold on to all of this without it encumbering her. And then we're able to use our Enraged Throw to toss down a Githyanki short sword on the enemy. We're going to hit Grym with this one, and that will knock him prone. But we still have to take out the other enemies on the ground. If you leave them alive, then what they're probably going to do is either fly up toward you and start attacking you, or what happened most commonly while I was doing other playthroughs is they would try to use heat metal on one of our characters. They normally like to target Lae'zel, and she's a little bit lower on health, so you really don't want them to do that. So instead, what we'll do is take out the remaining enemies on the ground. Once they're all eliminated, we don't have anything to worry about, and the fight can continue on from this point. Grym is not going to summon any more monsters. He is completely alone and completely helpless at this point, so it's very easy just to finish him off. Now, sometimes what happened to me is that he would run out of his superheating because he moved to a different position. He's actually outside of where the lava would flow now, so I really do have to finish him off on this last turn while he's still superheated. If that doesn't happen, what I would recommend, though, is that you could take Lae'zel down. You can have her use something like her Misty Step to get down lower onto the platform. Just be far away from him. Grym will automatically chase whoever is on the ground floor. If there's only one possible melee target, he's going to go after that person and override his threat assessment. So he will chase Lae'zel straight through the lava, reactivating his superheating, and then you're able to still use Karlach to throw down on him and eliminate him. It makes the fight very easy using that new ThrowZerker build, and I would highly recommend you do that. And so, like I just mentioned a moment ago, how do we get down below once the fight is over? All we have to do is use Lae'zel. She comes with the Misty Step ability of being a Githyanki, so we can just hop down below, and we don't have to worry about the lava right now. We can just get right down here next to Grym, and then we can start to loot his body. He's got a very interesting helmet for us called the Grym Skull Helm, so let's grab that. And then my game glitched a little bit. You can see that Nier shows up 2 times, and it wants to try to give me the things that come with him on his dead body. You can't actually select them, so I wasn't able to actually grab these items. I just had to kind of close out of the menu, and then I tried to repeat that, and it didn't happen. So who knows what was happening there. If you go around to the magma methods, they just have some valuables for you, little gemstones and things. So run around and grab all of those, because we can not only use them for selling, but we can also use them as throwing items. We can whip valuables over at enemies and do some damage with them if you run out of other weapons and things. So now we just have to collect our item from inside the forge. It isn't quite done yet, so you're not able to actually extract it until you hit it once again using the forge hammer. All you got to do is run over to the side and flip this lever, and then that will cause the big anvil arm to come down, smacking the device in the middle, and that will cause your new item, your new armor, to appear. We just have to run over here and we can grab the Adamantine scale mail. This is the medium armor that we forged for ourselves. So all we have to do now to get out of here is to run over back by that forge lever and then hit the platform control button, and that will raise us back up to the top. As a side note, as you're fighting Grym, if he's ever superheated and standing where that forge arm hammer comes down, you can flip the switch and cause the arm to come down and smash him and do an absolute ton of damage to him. It never really worked out in my strategy to get him to that point. I tried to play around with it by getting Lae'zel down there earlier and trying to see if I could bait him over there, but I just never got him really close enough. Before you leave, make sure that you scan the ground looking for any weapons that may have been thrown down here and survived the lava and they didn't get melted. And then we're going to head back up the way we came. And while you may be tempted just to continue on from this point, I'm actually going to go and craft a second piece of armor. This time I want to craft some heavy armor that I can give to Lae'zel. So what we need to do is to get not only a heavy armor mold, but we also have to get some more Mithral ore from the Mithral rock in the background here. So starting off, let's get that mold. All you have to do is to hop over the ledge here. We're going to climb back up toward the top, and then we're going to go toward the right side once you get up to the top. And you'll see that there's some stairs over here. Let's climb the stairs until we reach the top of this area, and then turn toward the left. There's going to be a little outcropping here you can run down, and then you can pick up the splint mold heavy right from the ground. So that's the mold that we need to create the heavy armor. Now let's head back down toward the bottom section, and then we're going to go grab that Mithral ore. It's interesting that Mithral ore will actually forge something called the Adamantine scale mail. Adamantite and Mithral are typically considered different types of metal. So I don't know if that's like an oversight or if I'm just not thinking through it very well. Let me know down in the comments how you would reconcile this seeming contradiction. So what we're going to do now is to switch on over toward the Dark Urge, and I'm going to separate him from the other party members, making sure that everyone is nice and hidden at this point, just because there is a possible ambush up ahead, and we really don't want to get ambushed by the enemy because we will be surprised, and that will just basically mean that whoever comes down here is going to die right away, and we don't want that. So the Dark Urge is nice and sneaky. We're going to have him come down here, sneaking all the way across this little lava area, and we can get really close to the Mithral ore in the back. You want to go around toward the back side of this area. This gets you out of the range for where the enemy will be able to detect you, and we're going to use our ranged attack. You have to use some sort of like piercing damage. That's the best way to break through this Mithral vein and cause the Mithral ore to pop out. Just be sure that you're always sneaking when you're walking around in this area. You want to be hiding so that the enemy does not see you and surprise you and start the fight. Well, once we have that Mithral ore, we're going to go back up toward the top, and we're going to rejoin our party members. But we're not quite done yet. We could go straight from here if you wanted to and forge the new armor, but I wouldn't recommend that because there's a lot of experience that we'd be leaving on the table by eliminating those enemies. So let's take out those enemies and get all of that juicy experience. Now that the whole party is back together up here, let's separate Karlach from everyone else, and we're going to equip that new Adamantine scale mail that we just forged. This is a strong piece of armor. It not only increases our armor class up to 16, but also it reduces all incoming damage by 1. When a melee attack hits us, the attacker is sent reeling for 2 turns. We get a disadvantage on stealth checks, but we also have the ability to never take critical hits from an enemy's attack. So a really powerful piece of armor that I'm glad to have at this point. Now, as Karlach alone, we're going to run toward the bottom, and we can get all the way down toward where this little lava river is, but stop just beforehand and then hide. We're going to sneak across here and then get to the other side, and then keep sneaking all the way until the back. There's going to be a table over here, and you'll see this orange bottle of elixir of fire resistance. Let's go over here and grab that. Once you have that elixir of fire resistance, we'll go into our inventory and we're going to drink that elixir, and that will give us resistance to fire damage and we can no longer burn. That's going to be very handy for reducing how much damage will be coming in just a moment. So now let's start heading back the way that we came, still sneaking at this point, and we want to sneak our way all the way down until we get into this river area. And we're going to stop right before we get out, and then we just have to stand up and it's going to initiate a fight. Unfortunately, we're surprised we can't do anything, but the enemy isn't going to do a whole lot to us either. They've either got to spend their turns flying toward us or maybe dashing toward us. They can try to use some attacks against us, but really everything that they do is based in heat, and that we now have heat resistance. So the enemies that attack us, if they hit us, they'll be sent reeling. If they try to use fire, it's not going to do a whole lot to us, and so we can weather that first attack pretty easily. Now it's our turn, so what we want to do is to start eliminating the enemies, and I would recommend that you go into Frenzy just so that you have access to that in Rage Throw. But there is kind of a problem, and that is when you're so close to the enemy like this, you're not able to hit them very easily. You definitely have a disadvantage when you're threatened and when you're too close to the enemy. So sometimes what happens is that you'll throw things and you just won't be able to hit them. You'll see I got a critical miss here, and then I'm going to throw another time and I will get another critical miss. That's crazy that I rolled 2 1s in a row for that. So can't believe that, but I guess that's just how it is. Luckily here our weapons do not get destroyed. They don't go and burn into the lava, so everything that we do throw, even if it misses, we're able to pick it up off the ground at the end of the fight. Okay, it's Karlach's turn again, and I have the option to do some melee attacks against them. The problem is if that kills them, then they're going to explode and do more damage to me. So I don't really want that. I'm going to take my chance again and try to throw at this enemy. Luckily, it does connect, and he is out of the fight. Well, feeling pretty good about that. I thought I'd test my luck again and see if I could hit another enemy a little further away, but it was another critical miss. So I really just don't have a whole lot of luck here. Let's try another throw just to see if that one works, and I do connect with that one. causing him to die, but a whole lot of his friends also show up to the fight. And now is a good time to bring in our other party members who are still conveniently hiding and outside of their line of sight. So now with Astarion, I'm going to use a sneak attack range to enter combat with him. That will not only eliminate the enemy, causing him to explode far away, but now I get all of my actions refreshed, so I can do that again once it's his turn. So using Lae'zel, I'm going to sneak up right where Astarion is and also use the range attack that's going to eliminate another enemy. And it's not her turn, so I'm going to switch it now over toward the Dark Urge. I wanted to use the same vantage point as the other characters, but I just couldn't quite get the shot in on the enemy that I really wanted to hit. I could only hit this one really close to Karlach, and I'd rather hit someone a little further away. So let's sneak down here, again staying just outside of their field of view. We're able to use a sneak attack range to attack another enemy a little bit further away from Karlach, and he will explode. She's totally safe. And that's all that I can really do here. I can't really control my other party members. I have to jump to the character in turn, which is Karlach. She doesn't have anything more to do, so I can end the turn, and then the enemy will go through their actions, doing a little bit of damage to her, but nothing that she can't handle. So the enemy will sometimes attack someone with a higher armor class like Lae'zel, and you can see that they did use heat metal on her, but she's fine. And now it's my turn again, and I should have more than enough firepower to eliminate the enemy. Because the Dark Urge got a kill the last turn, he's invisible, so I can have him run up and then use another sneak attack range to attack the enemy in the back that my other characters couldn't reach. Lae'zel still has an extra range attack from the previous turn, so I'll have her use an attack and hit the enemy kind of close to Karlach. It's okay that he's going to explode. I don't take a lot of damage from that, so don't worry too much if you have to have them explode close by. It's not that big of a deal. And now we can use our normal range attack with her, and we can also use our follow-up range attack. So we really get to attack 3 times this turn because it was left over from the previous turn, plus our 2 normal ones. We'll spread out the damage a little bit against them, and then we can switch it over to Astarion. He can use his range attack to take out another one of the enemies here, and then Karlach will just have to use a melee attack to finish off the last remaining enemy. So we'll just have her attack up close, and then that will be enough to end the fight. Alright, well, all the enemies are eliminated. We get a lot of experience for going through that, and we didn't lose all that much health overall. So let's continue on. We're going to regroup our party members, and then we're going to head down and forge ourselves a nice piece of heavy armor. It's going to be the same process that we did before, but this time we're going to be a little bit more up close with it. Let's head down here, and then we're going to use the mold chamber to put in the mold. You'll have to remove the old mold first by pulling on the lever for the mold ejection chamber. That's going to open it up, and then we can put in our new mold that we just picked up. So let's find the splint mold heavy from our inventory. Karlach is holding it. Whoever is the one who's holding it should be the one to actually interact with the thing. And then we're going to use the Dark Urge because he holds our Mithral ore. We're going to put that right inside the crucible, and then that will be enough to continue on. So once that's all successfully inserted, we're going to then head on over toward the forge lever, and we're going to hit that, and then we're going to move down to the lower level. I'm going to speed it up to 2 times normal speed just so that we can get to the bottom a little bit faster. And then when you are all the way down, let's move over toward one of these circular platforms. And once we're all on it, then you can either interact with the valve by hand, or you can shoot it with a ranged attack once everyone is safe from where the lava is going to be flowing out. So let's use this lava valve. It's going to cause all of the lava to flow out, and that will start heating up the metal inside the forge. And once it's all good and heated up, then we're just going to use another ranged attack to hit the forge lever over on the other platform. That will cause the hammer to come down, and we now have a piece of armor to collect as soon as all the lava goes away. So let's be patient and wait for just a few seconds for the lava to disappear, and then we're going to run over and we're going to find our armor waiting for us right over here on the mold. So we can just scan the area and then grab the Adamantine Splint armor. It has an armor class of 18, all incoming damage is reduced by 2, and when a melee attack hits you, the attacker is sent reeling for 3 turns. Again, a disadvantage on skill check, but you cannot incur any critical hits, just like the other medium armor that we already crafted. Well, I gave that armor over to Lae'zel so that she can carry it. It's quite heavy, and we're going to equip that onto her, and then we're also going to equip the Grym Skull Helm that we grabbed from Grym. All in all, that really raises up our armor class. She's much stronger and much tankier now than she was a few moments ago. So let's keep on going, and we're going to get out of here. It has been a very long time since I've done a long rest. I still have the Morning Lord's Radiance buff. That's something that we got from completing the weapon puzzle way back in the Rosimorn Monastery. That was a long time ago. So let's do our long rest, and that way we can get all of our hit points and our spell slots back if you're missing any of those, and we're going to be just a lot better off. But also we want to have a nice little heartwarming scene with our friends Scratch and the Owlbear Cub. I still have the potion of animal speaking active, so I'm going to show you what it looks like when you can actually talk to them. That's something that I didn't show in my previous walkthrough. So here's the cutscene for that. Hurry towards the sound. What's going on? I thought something was wrong.
Just a bad dream. It's all right.
Goblins had me in a cage, poked me with pointy sticks.
Hush now, it was just a nightmare. We're safe here, with Master. He'll settle in. Give it a little time.
You two looked cozy together, bad dreams aside.
He's still young. I remember Gonwick would let me sleep under his cloak when I was a pup. It helps.
Alright then, so long as nobody's getting hurt.
No hurt, Scratch. Never.
Easy now. The Guardian's just looking out for us.
Did you call me Master just now?
I suppose I did. You've been good to us. To both of us. Gonwick would be happy I'm with you, I think.
Like it here. Warm fire. Scratch reminds me of Big Brother.
Wait, did you say you have a brother?
Used to. Mother ate him.
Well, you're both welcome here. And we automatically pet them both at the same time. I've read reports that this will not unlock the trophy or achievement called You Have Two Hands for a reason. I think that's because when you have the potion of animal speaking active, it automatically makes you do it instead of having to pass the animal handling checks in order to choose to scratch them individually. That may have been bugged and patched since that happened, because the reports that I read were from 8 or so months ago from the time that I'm making this video. So who knows if it's been patched or not. But anyway, we're going to continue on from here, and we're going to leave our camp, and we're going to fast travel over to the Grym Forge. And that's going to do it for part 12. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. In part 13, we're going to be finishing up Act 1 and moving into Act 2. So I'm really looking forward to that. Make sure to give me a like and comment down below if you enjoyed this video. And be sure to subscribe if you want to see the rest of this series. I'll see you soon for part 13. Until then, thanks for watching and have a good day.